a dropout.
Wait.
Zuckerberg.
But not everybody can do what I do, though. I got
but Zuckerberg's a dropout. Gates is a dropout.
Hold on. No. Hold on.
This is such an underhanded, dirty scumbag tactic that people use to convince others that they shouldn't go to college, as Destiny is, I'm sure, about to address.
Dropped out of Harvard.
People like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg quit school because they were too busy working on projects. Right. If you're a guy that's failing, like remedial algebra, and you quit school, you're not going to become the next Gates or Zuckerberg.
But bear with me. What I'm saying is you do not have to have a college degree to succeed in life. And so...
Yeah, but you know the percentage of people who succeed without a college degree? And to what degree or to what extent do they succeed? How much more do you make with a college degree? And do we need people who make and do we need people who get college degrees in this country? Do we need them? Are they necessary for our country to succeed? The answer is yes, they are necessary. She's just completely full of shit here, and it's disgusting that she's doing this.
Setting up a child and saying you have to have a college degree in order to succeed is a false paradigm. It's just false. There are a lot of people who succeed. In fact, most of my friends, I don't know, did you...
When she says false paradigm, does she mean that it just doesn't work that way? You don't succeed if you get a college degree? Is that what she's saying?
Did you graduate? Okay. Most of my friends who are entrepreneurs, who are self-starters, who are successful in life, did not go to college and did not graduate.
This is so dirty, what she's doing here.
Or did go to college for a short term and figured it out and didn't graduate. And so my point is, it's a Ponzi scheme.
It's not a Ponzi scheme.
Oh, they're all in debt, and now they're all saying, hey, government, bail me out.
I think you're doing a disservice to college. Hear me out.
Thank you. Oh, my God.
Because there's parts of what you're saying that I agree with, and there's parts of what you're saying that I just think is not the best portrayal.
The only other person I've ever met that's actually to defend college on a show.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because there's different strokes for different folks.
You know, in World War II, there was a streak of anti-intellectualism running through the Nazi party. Like, they were obsessed with anti-intellectualism. Like, they're sick of these, you know, college-educated people speaking down to them and saying how stupid they are and all of that stuff. And it was intended to appeal to a group of people who absolutely hated being spoken down to by people who were smarter or whatever. Anyway, it's all populism. It's all, you know, a populist ploy.
When you say that college is a Ponzi scheme, it depends on this is why I think the decisions you make.
It literally does not depend on the definition. It is not a Ponzi scheme.
Making when you're 17 and 18 are the most important decisions of your life. Like, where am I going to school? You really have to do the ROI on college. Because it's been proven that high school...
You're completely unprepared to make those decisions.
Totally agree.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah,
it's true.
But it's been proven that if you look at the math...
Here we've got somebody using weasel words. What math? Who proved this? What are you talking about? It might be true, but don't say that.
That if a high school degree, you'll earn $1 million over your lifetime.
$1 million per college degree.
No, $2 million.
Right?
Exactly, yeah. $2 million, what you will earn on a college degree. Okay, and then as you get a PhD or a master's, you can earn lifetime earnings on average $3, $4, $5 million.
Right
now, for every Bill Gates that drops out, Mark Zuckerberg that drops out, or PBD that has to go to college, there's hundreds and thousands of people that are just average people. So that's why I totally agree with you on this. Here's the problem that I think is lacking in America is there is a need for technical schools, right? These vocational schools. But the problem is, if you're going to go to high school.
Like, there isn't a need for these things. They already exist. They're here. And people can go to them if they choose. And they're useful. They have their place in society. But what these people are doing is decreasing the productivity and the scientific advancements that come out of the United States. The U.S. is an invention juggernaut. People were sitting in the dark before America came along and invented the light bulb and discovered electricity. They were sitting in the dark. People were riding horses before America came along and streamlined the industrial car production process or whatever. America has invented so much shit, it's ridiculous. And stuff that we didn't even invent, but discoveries we made about the world here that contributed to like thousands of new inventions, like Einstein discovering relativity. Now, the interesting thing about that is some crazy high percentage, like 90% or something, of inventions and discoveries have been made by people who were from a completely different part of the world, Chinese or Jewish or German or whatever, immigrants to the U.S. I mean, we're all immigrants, but when I say immigrants, I mean people who are not like Anglo-Saxon, basically. They were invented by people who are who are guests to this country originally, who were not born here or whose parents weren't born here. That's what makes this country so strong. Diversity of experience, of opinion, of ideas, of everything. What these people are doing right now is going to destroy that diversity of opinion and idea and destroy people's drive to learn and research and be better. They are making this country worse.
Right? You're going to go K through 12 and you're taking all these classes, algebra, biology, math, this, that, and they say, hey, by the way, after high school, you should go become a plumber. What 18-year-old kid is going to be like, I've been in school this whole time and now you want me to go back to being a plumber? And what they don't understand is some plumbers will make $100,000 a year. And
yeah, they do. Some plumbers, not all plumbers, some of them do. Yes.
You might only make $40,000 a year
maybe
with your liberal arts degree.
New York.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
But
so you're making my
yeah, there you go. If you live in New York, you'll make that kind of money. I think it's usually master plumbers, not like apprentice or journeyman or whatever. It's just very high-ranking plumbers who've been in the field for a very long time make that kind of money. I was training to be a plumber, actually, when I was a Jehovah's Witness. I had a buddy teaching me how to do that. Jehovah's Witnesses are all about trades.
point for me.
No, but the point is this, is that no, very few people are going to go through school for 18 years or 12 years and then be like, all right, let me go be a plumber or a sewage guy or a garbage man. Even though the ROI on that is greater than sometimes a college degree.
Only because of the whole college prep and career readiness Ponzi scheme.
It's not a Ponzi scheme. Oh my God.
That's the only reason.
Wait, why is it a Ponzi scheme? If you get a degree, you get compensated for it.
It's like a pyramid scheme. It's like you pay in on the bottom.
Okay, that's not the same as a Ponzi scheme.
And then as more people pay in, you will get more money on the outcome.
Yeah, but you don't get that.
Except that for a lot of people, they don't get
that's only if you get the indoctrination of that you have to go to some out-of-state school and spend $50,000 a year. If you're okay with going to community college and taking basic classes and paying your way, you can get out of college.
That's not a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme relies for you to get the money at the top from new people coming in at the bottom.
That's right.
But if you go and get a degree in nuclear engineering, you're not getting money from the school. You go out in the job market and you get paid in the job market. That's not a Ponzi scheme.
Well, it is, because when the government
No, it isn't.
comes in and bails out everybody's student loans and all of
Okay, but that hasn't happened. And also, it wouldn't matter. It's not a Ponzi scheme.
that, then it's all of a piece.
Well, okay, one,
So
that hasn't
it's like
happened
the
yet.
whole feeder thing.
Yeah, but that hasn't happened yet. And two, if school, how many Ponzi schemes could you kill immediately? And like every single person that is like graduated would still be making money. That's not a Ponzi.
Yeah, you're paying for a service. You're paying for something real that cannot be taken away and that is recognized internationally.
Scheme, right?
But okay, so my point is that
No, so she's saying she's wrong. Is this her admitting that she's wrong? Destiny should force a concession out of her now. Okay, you're right. I was wrong. It's not a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme, and it is actually valuable to people around me. That's what she should be conceding right now, but she's not going to, of course.
that it's a setup. Okay, because there are plenty of kids who really shouldn't be going to college. They're much better served not going to college. And there are plenty of kids in college who are being disserved by being taught things that simply aren't true about themselves and about life in general.
That's a different story. So
Yeah, that's different. This whole thing is different. And I don't even know what she's talking about. Kids being told a different story about their life? What?
for me, I think what you guys are saying is everybody here has a point, and everybody here is making a
No. Don't both sides this. I get so sick of this dude both sidesing everything. Oh my God.
good counter argument to the other person. This is what I would say. To say all of it Like I want doctors to go to college. Like STEM is I don't think you're saying that. I think STEM, you need to go to school for STEM. I'm not going to have
Science, technology, engineering, and math, right? So he's saying no liberal arts degrees, I guess. I mean, you can do things with liberal arts degrees. Human resources, you can go into journalism, marketing, you can be a teacher, an editor, publicist, graphic designer, you can be in education generally, technical writer, social worker, city manager, a writer. I mean, there's a ton of shit you can do with a liberal arts degree. I guess these people just don't like liberal arts degrees. Is that what it is? It's probably one of the least useful degrees out there. I'll give them that. But I think it's supposed to be like a general ed degree with the assumption that maybe you'll move on to something and specialize in it, right? Like specializing in, I don't know, law or in like medicine or something like that. And so if there's something I've learned about law school with my wife going to law school, it's that diversity of experience and education in law, just take law, is extremely valuable. She got her undergrad in computer science, and she worked for a civil rights organization who is now dealing with the civil rights of artificial intelligence. And nobody there understood, the first thing about it at all. So they had her write up this whole memorandum basically about how human rights and civil rights kind of intersect with artificial intelligence and how AI works generally. You never know what experience and education is going to be extremely valuable when you walk into, law or medicine or anything. If people go to law school and get a pre-law degree or a political science degree or something in their undergrad, it's not really that valuable. Everybody does that. We already expect that. Or like pre-med or something. Like you're not bringing unique experiences and information to the fields that others are not,
have somebody work on my dad's heart that's never gone to school and hasn't gone and done, additional things you need to be a heart surgeon. Yeah. I want.
And I'm not saying that nobody should go to college.
Right. You're
okay. It's indistinguishable from that then.
Saying
what I'm saying is that the rule shouldn't be simply applied.
I think the part I have a challenge with is the following area. The part I have a challenge with is the fact that, for every one conservative professor, there's 13 liberal. That's the problem.
Why is that a problem? And there aren't 13 liberal professors for every one conservative. There are 12 normal human beings who don't integrate politics into every facet of their lives. And then maybe one who's really, really progressive and wants to see change for, the better. And then one who's really, really extreme right, who's absolutely insane and thinks the moon is made of cheese or some shit. This isn't a both sides problem. This is a one-sided problem. Republican extremists are insane right now. Not always. Eisenhower was a good guy. I'll take that step. And an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I don't know if you guys knew that. He was a good guy, and he was a Republican, and he warned about things happening in the future that are now happening, like the military-industrial complex and things like that. I don't have a problem with Eisenhower, and he's a Republican. I have a problem with nutcases who don't have a political platform. They simply attack people and bully them and bitch about how persecuted they are nonstop. That's it.
For every, for example, the one thing you got to give so much credit to the left is they understood if you want to control the way people think, go control universities, okay?
Yeah.
You got to do that. But by the way, Republicans were lazy on it.
It's true.
They have one school, which is what, Hillsdale? And maybe you got a couple other Christian schools that you got, Bible schools that you got. What else do the Republicans? Even Duke nowadays is what? Is on the left.
Yeah.
Duke is not the Duke of 30 years ago.
Gone, Harvard's gone.
So what the Republicans rather than
they're gone. What do you mean they're gone? Duke's gone, Harvard is gone. What? These things are not gone. They're just not far-right extremists. These organizations, these colleges can just be normal centers for education. Totally disconnected from politics. Oh my God, dude. Somebody says, wasn't Eisenhower a Republican before the Southern Strategy? Yes, but he was right-leaning. It was a different environment back then for sure, but he was not like a hard right nutcase is the point here.
then taking the money that they had and creating some real universities They just said, nah, I'm going to go out there and just do my business stuff. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to go out. You need a pen?
Yeah.
Can you give them a pen if you don't mind? Yeah, thank you. So I think that part is a mistake of the right. You know, like right now, the left is losing their minds because Elon Musk bought Twitter. Why? Because they've been controlling media for how?
Because he's a idiot, that's why. Because Elon Musk is a colossal scumbag who's now, at this immediate moment in history, threatening one of the top government officials in Brazil with getting the U.S. government to mess with him and to, like, commandeer his airplane and things. Because he wants to throw his weight around and show how powerful he is. Elon Musk is a scumbag. On top of that, God, I can't get this lucky egg for shit. I can't believe I'm having so much trouble. Well, I can believe it, actually, getting this lucky egg. In the past, it's taken me like 2 hours to get, but I really want this lucky egg, like a lot, so I'm going to keep fighting for it. Anyway, it doubles or increases the experience you get by maybe 50% or something when you get into battles. I don't remember. Anyway, Elon Musk is not this bastion of free speech. He's just not. Dude has censored the political opponents of Erdogan from Turkey and Modi from India and others. And he censored that kid who was like tracking his jet or whatever. Came up with some ridiculous excuse to do so. He's not free speech at all. He's pro Elon Musk, bottom line.
How long now? God knows how long. That's strategically a good move on them. So Elon comes in, he starts exposing everything, and they're like, yeah, Twitter files don't even talk about it on mainstream media. They're scared shitless. That's how you come.
I mean, Twitter files is just bullshit. There was nothing there. We found out that Donald Trump genuinely did request a change in Twitter's policy, or did tell them to take something down that he didn't like. That was government censorship, like real government censorship. But none of this matters to him.
You compete that way.
We've lost the competition because they've indoctrinated all of the teachers K through 12. So our schools are gone.
That's a lazy.
Teachers are not indoctrinated. They're just not political right-wing nutcases is all.
All of the teachers K through 12. So our schools are gone.
That's a lazy side of Republicans.
Do you think, but it doesn't matter because it's the kids now that are,
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
And you think that we have a chance to fight for the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment is gone because all of the kids today that are going to
she's completely full of shit.
To zero tolerance schools are learning that guns are bad.
Yeah.
Who is learning that? You mean like when somebody like points a gun at them and pulls the trigger, they learn that is bad, or one of their friends, they come to realize that guns are bad? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a side effect of your making them available to everybody from here to Texas.
Full stop.
But okay, so then the question for me becomes, if as a capitalist and a person myself that I'm fiscally conservative, as a capitalist, I like to say, what are you doing about it, Pat? That's my MO in my family life. What am I doing about it? Okay, perfect. If that's what Republicans stand for, what are you doing about it, personal responsibility, then damn it, Republicans, take some personal responsibility and ask yourself, how many universities have you started? How many schools have you started?
Okay.
How much time have you put into it? Why don't you take your top 40, 50 richest billionaire Republicans and say, set aside, you really want to do this? Oh, I'm going to give 100% of my money away. To what? Bullshit charities?
Yeah,
No, why don't you
stop spending your sending your money to these institutions just because you graduated
because they're
from
not
them.
united and they're lazy. Get together and say,
wow, dude, she's going after the alumni donations, how a lot of universities survive. What a colossal piece of shit.
here's $50 billion over the next 20 years to build some incredible campuses and universities to compete against the Harvards and the Yales and the Berkeleys and all this other stuff. How about we go do that? And they're not doing that.
I totally agree with that. And I will add, save the children now. Save the children now.
So what do you want to do about that? Like, you tell me, what, you just want to ban kids from going to college or something? Like, I don't know.
Do not put your children in school.
Public schools.
Any school.
You're saying not even college.
School.
Oh my God. Now she's, oh please, dude. She's realized that she f***ed up. She's been using the word school to refer to everything again, even though she threw this big stupid fit over this exact issue like at the beginning of this with Destiny. My God.
Cool. That's K through 12.
K through 12.
Right.
Okay. What can we agree that education is at least a quest for knowledge?
Sure.
Education should be a quest for knowledge.
Sure.
What's the first thing you learn?
Fundamentally, yeah.
What's the first thing you learn to do in school if you want to ask?
Oh my God, dude. I've heard this from her, and it is the stupidest I've ever heard in my life. What she's about to say is a perfect example of why you shouldn't do armchair psychology. If you don't know what you're talking about, then shut your mouth.
Down and shut up.
Don't
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand to ask a question. You need permission to ask. You can't just ask questions. You need permission first.
Couldn't be because there are 30 other students in the classroom and that you can't have people just yelling things out. You need to have some kind of order to this system. Couldn't be that. Has to be that they're brainwashing kids to not ask questions. They are literally not doing that. They are telling kids how to ask questions. They're teaching them decorum. Oh my God.
Ask a question. You need permission to ask. You can't just ask questions. You need permission first. You have to draw attention to yourself. This is an embodied lesson. You're embodying this lesson of don't ask, okay?
Armchair psychology.
And we said that education is a quest for knowledge. That begins with what? A question. The first thing you learn in school is don't question. By the way, we're living in...
Wait, who says don't question? Are you serious? You can question all kinds of things. I question stuff all the time. That's like my whole job, questioning things. What does this mean?
In a whole era right now of don't question.
I agree.
No questions are allowed.
Well, watch this. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ask me a question and don't raise your hand.
Ma'am, may I please? Well,
I mean, did you catch what he just did? May I ask you a question? That is effectively the same as raising your hand. So she complains about one, but recognizes the need for the other. This is so stupid.
I think that the format of school, which has consistently been there for 100+ years now, was based on the factory workers, industrial revolution, get in line, fall in line, stay in line, that whole thing.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
But I want to hone in on what you do. You're a major advocate on homeschooling. So I'm sure you can go on for days, the pros of it. But my question is, what are the pros and cons of homeschooling? I have a lot of friends that are doing homeschooling right now. Pat's kids are in private school. I went to public school my whole life, and then at the end of high school, I went to private school. I've done it all. The last thing that I ever wanted to do in my life was be home with my parents and learn from my parents. Like, homeschooling was not an option for me.
Yeah.
So what are the pros and cons that you're seeing from being a homeschool?
So let me say this. My relationship with my teenagers is amazing. Okay? You want a good relationship with your children? Do not send them away from you for 8 hours a day.
My God.
Do not do that.
No.
Zero do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, just with my parents, they would have
No,
I'm
in the
for
Destiny
1 year.
camp.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
God.
You guys can't comment because your waters were tainted when you were sent to school.
My dad was about as abusive as they come. He was absolutely terrible. Being around my dad more would have made my life actively worse and more dangerous. And I don't know that I would have come out alive if I had been around him 24/7 for a while there when I was really young. I did end up homeschooling, and it was a problem, ultimately. I had to, basically, stay away from him as much as I could, not be in the living room or anything like that. Or for a while there, he was, sleeping a lot because he was on some heavy pain medicine. So, there's that, I suppose. I could be around when he was, asleep, but the point is, some parents do not deserve the children that they have, and they absolutely should not be given charge of a kid's education. They should not. Additionally, kids learn, schools teach kids how to do certain things. Schools have a list of, a curriculum that you're supposed to learn and follow to teach kids various things. That's how this whole thing works. That's how it's supposed to work. I guess she's saying that you should ignore the curriculum, I suppose, right?
Okay? The school got between you and your parents. The school presented.
I don't know about all
My
that.
parents are really fucking nice.
I think
School saved me from my parents.
When I was 19, I was homeless for a month, and I thought, man, this sucked, but it's not as bad as live with mom and dad.
You can't say because
I'm with him on that.
You can't say because you don't have the experience of not having the school come between you and your parents.
So she's saying that there are no bad parents. There are only relationship gaps created by not being around your parents. Okay. This is the stupidest I've heard in a while.
The thing that when you drop your child off at school, you are tacitly telling the child, I abdicate my responsibility. I cannot be responsible. The school is responsible.
That is not what you're saying, tacitly or otherwise. You're saying, I understand that these people have curriculums and education experts to determine what my kid should learn and how and when, and the people teaching them have master's degrees in these subjects. I know exactly how to do it. I don't have a master's degree in history and math and, general science or physics or whatever other thing. I don't have those things. So I'm going to let these teachers who do have those things do the job. This is such a joke, such a disgusting joke.
Responsible. The school has authority. My authority is now challenged inside my own home. Inside my own home.
No, it isn't.
The moment that the school disagrees with whatever, you lose.
Okay, I don't know what she's talking about. What could you possibly disagree with the school on that the parent would not succeed in battling? I don't know. I have no idea. Like an educational thing. Are you saying like if the school wants to teach your kid how to do long division instead of like Common Core or something, you lose? I mean, you can teach your kid long division if you want.
Well, that's part of life.
No, it's not. I disagree.
You're wrong.
My teenagers have never rebelled.
Your teenagers have to follow
plenty.
a different set of rules depending on what environment they're in. If they go to a friend's house, that friend's house might have a different set of rules that they have to
There you go.
play.
Not if they challenge my rules.
If you're, let's say that, I don't know if this is the case for you, but if your house, let's say you guys wear shoes in your house because you do that and you don't care. And if they go to another friend's house and then their house, the rule is no shoes in the house, they can't challenge, I mean, they could challenge that
The
parent's
rule
authority,
is
but it would
respect, right? The rule
okay,
is
but if you're going to make it that broad, then you can say
that.
the same for school. You respect what your teacher tells you, right?
My point is the teacher said.
No, she just lost the debate is the point here. She's pretending that she didn't. Every time she loses, she says, my point is, and then says the exact same shit that she said a second ago.
Sets up this conundrum inside the child. So daddy is authority, except that now the teacher is the authority, and daddy told me that the teacher's the authority. So now I trust the teacher.
Okay.
And by the way, as we know, and I don't know what private school, but we know in public schools, there's a lot of challenge to parental rights and parental authority.
No, there isn't. This whole parental rights thing is nonsense being pushed by Republicans to try to impose their will on the schools. Parental rights, like the right to force every other kid in the classroom, not just yours, but all of them, to deal with a chaplain, like a pastor, as a school counselor instead of a real qualified school counselor. That's not parental rights. That's you trying to impose your wants and beliefs and interests on everybody around you. Distinct difference.
And that sets up a huge conundrum for the child. That's child abuse.
But can you just go back to my initial question? 'Cause
Yes.
obviously, you're going to be an advocate of homeschooling. We're not trying to sway your opinion.
I don't say homeschooling anymore because
Oh, please. She's just going to refuse to answer the question. What are the cons of homeschooling?
school is child abuse. The whole
All right, well,
idea.
you've got a whole far-right
idea-
directive on this. But let's go back to the question. What's the pros and
Yes.
cons of home
learning.
education?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the pros and cons? Give
Okay,
me
well-
maybe the top 3 pros and maybe some
Okay.
cons, if you would.
The founders of the nation,
Yeah.
geniuses, right?
I mean, that's debatable, but okay, sure. Yes, some of them were really smart.
Sure.
Geniuses. They created this. This is
I mean, they didn't build it off of nothing. These things already existed. But okay, fine. Yes.
the greatest leap in prosperity the,
The
world has
forefathers
ever
were
seen.
total G's,
Right?
100%.
Never went to school.
Top G, as one might say.
Never went to school, she says. Yes, they did. Are you me with this? She's just completely full of shit. She's just like, is she lying? I can't tell if she's lying or just dumb as dog. It has to be one of the two, right? It must be. They were lawyers. They had been educated in law in England, largely. There were some who didn't have formal education in some things, but for example, like Washington and other, generals and things, people high up in the military had experience in the field, working in the fields of military command and whatever else for like decades, depending on which person it was, I guess. Some of them are actually pretty young. This is so stupid, man. Thomas Jefferson, let's see. He was the second president of the United States, right? Started his education at a local school run by a Scottish Presbyterian minister, where he began studying Latin, Greek, and French at age 9. The College of William and Mary. Jefferson attended the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, from March 1760 to April 1762. Studied mathematics, natural philosophy, and political philosophy under Scottish scholar William Small. Went to law school. Studied law with prominent jurist George Wythe, where he learned the most important legal principles of the time. Got honorary degrees. I'm not going to bother with those, but that's Jefferson. What about, I'm not sure if George Washington had one. Let's see. Because he was a general originally. So his education might have been through experience on the battlefields. That's generally how it works. Although now we have a command school in the United States. He may have just gotten it through experience. Colonial military career, 1752 to 1758. French and Indian War, marriage, civilian and political life, 1755 to 75. Yeah. Commander-in-Chief, 1775 to 1783. Anyway, I don't really know that he was one of the thought leaders, like, writing these things down, though, right? James Madison, I believe, wrote some of the Constitution. He went to Princeton University, 1769 to 1771, and then the College of New Jersey. James Madison did. Benjamin Franklin, 1714 through 15, Boston Latin School. I mean, what other ones we got? Let's see. Alexander Hamilton, Francis Barber's Grammar School, and Columbia College. Practically every single one went to a university. Let's see, John Adams, he was a religious nutcase. Let's see what he did. Harvard University and Harvard College before that. He actually had he had 8 years of education. Wow, 7 or 8 years. Who else we got? What are the other founding fathers? I mean, I've gone through just the ones I can think of, and literally every single one of them had education except for George Washington, and he got his position through experience rather than education. These people are just completely full of
Top cheese.
Never went to school.
Yes.
Well,
as you said, there were no schools
There were no
back then.
schools.
Hold
I
on.
never
I
went
just
to
want a quick fact check for the audience. So if people start looking up Benjamin Franklin, George, all these people, none of these people were educated in any institution outside the
Yes, they were.
home. There were no tutors brought in outside. There were no teachers anywhere. They didn't go to any sort of class.
But that's not the question. The question is, did they go to school? They didn't go to
Oh, please. This is such a scumbag tactic to convince people that you're right when you're absolutely wrong.
But okay, but
K through 12,
were
you're
they
saying.
educated by their parents at home, like a homeschooler would do today?
Perhaps.
Well, you're the one making the claim. Is that true that they were educated? That
All I'm saying is we didn't have schools, so they didn't go to school.
But go on with your point.
go ahead.
Fair enough.
She's using the word incorrectly and then claiming to have some kind of superiority here or whatever. It's just absurd.
We're going for pros and cons of homeschooling. I'm trying to
Right.
get this answer.
So my point is the freedom model, right, created this.
Got it.
Benjamin Franklin, do you know what he did?
He did a lot of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But what our system does is it pigeonholes the child and it says you need to do this or you need to do that.
Okay, Benjamin Franklin was in fact educated, first of all. And second, our world is so obscenely complex today, especially compared to back then, 300 years ago or more, that it's just not possible to do everything like that. Like, I know a little bit about everything, just a little bit, at least. But my real specialty is in, researching. I do so much research, it's ridiculous. I don't know how to... God, I don't know. If I had the equipment in front of me, I wouldn't know how to come up with the chemical makeup of some substance just based on, titrations and, weighing the substance and things like that. I couldn't do that. Somebody specializes in that shit and does know how to do that. That's how we have chemical formulas. I mean, I know how that works generally, but I couldn't do that shit. You have to specialize in today's society. It's just too complex. When Bart Ehrman is studying some specific thing, he has to not only be there to study himself, but he has to bring in legal experts too, depending on what he's studying. People who understand the history of the law, if he's like researching Roman law, for example. And somebody who speaks ancient languages. I mean, he speaks those languages too, but he doesn't specialize in that shit. The point is that we know so much about individual subjects that we have to study this shit individually on a very granular level now. It's just how it works.
You need to do this or you need to do that. You need to choose. You can't do both. It also says,
Like, you can do anything you want. You're just not going to be able to, like, dive in all the way.
don't try. That's one of the paradigms in school. Because failure
Yeah, don't try? What are you talking about? They teach you not to try in school? I'm glad Destiny laughed at this audibly.
says, don't try. That's one of the paradigms in school. Because failure's bad.
Okay.
Failure
She's not even acknowledging Destiny right now.
is bad. What's the key to entrepreneurship?
Try again.
fail.
Yeah, of course.
You fail and you get back up and you try again.
All right.
But the school paradigm is failure's bad. That red F on a white sheet of paper, that's bad. So don't try. That's the subtext.
That's not any subtext I've ever read. What are you talking about right now?
The underlying message.
Or one might say, don't try to don't fail. But, okay.
Yeah, how do you get A's if you don't?
Yeah, don't try to not fail. Okay. Or don't fail. All right. Let's see. I got to write this down. This is nuts. 1 hour on the button. Don't try. School teaches you not to try. Yeah, I'm going to save that. That is just insane and ridiculous and embarrassing. I can't believe she said that shit.
Don't
Yeah,
try.
But keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking for pros and cons here, just to be
Okay.
a
So
friendly reminder.
the pros are the
Whoa. Didn't she already give us the pros? Why are we going down the pros again?
family relationship.
Sure.
That's a huge pro. The freedom that the child has to pursue his innate giftings, right? And so there's a lot of freedom built in. There's a lot less time spent on quote education.
So she says the freedom for the kid to explore their specific interests, basically, right? I thought that you shouldn't specialize in any one thing. I thought you should be able to do everything, right?
And let's just talk about academics for a little bit, because the school focused very much on academics. So we believe that education is academic, right? I mean, when you define education, how do you define education?
That's
Or
a very
school.
broad word.
Well, your child goes to school to what end? Why does
learning.
Well, they
Learning
go to
what?
school to learn things, but generally to prepare them to exist in the world as probably a functioning unit of the economy.
But one of the criticisms that you had of school is it doesn't prepare them because it doesn't teach home ec. It doesn't
Hold on.
teach.
I didn't
life
say it didn't
skills.
prepare them, period. It prepares you for the future job, hopefully, that you hold, and it kind of rounds you out as a person when you learn other things.
Do you know that school today, that the jobs that the schools are preparing children for are going to be gone in the next 15 years? That
No.
Okay, I don't know that that's true, but either way, even if it is true, it doesn't mean that those jobs, it doesn't mean that the education will provide absolutely no benefit for the jobs that replace them. Like, you're getting experience, general experience in a specific area of study that will be of use to you later on. That's how education works. Like, my God.
No.
if it like
Like, she's lying about everything. Is she really this stupid, or is it just lies? I can't tell with her.
No, I think if you go
50%
to
of
school,
the jobs
no.
that are being created, that will be created in the next 15 years, the schools aren't preparing children for.
That might be true. But I mean, but who do you think is going to have? How many besides you? Do you two have kids?
He's got 4. I've got 0.
If you had kids, would you send them to college or no?
Well, that's not the question. Would
Well,
I send them
No,
to
no.
school?
I'm just
Would I
real
send them
quick.
to school?
Would you send your kids to college?
Depending on what they want to do.
Yeah.
Depends on
But
what they wanna
Just
do.
so you know, for me, it's more around STEM. Like my kids.
College is a tool.
So let me give you an idea about what my thoughts are on this. I don't think homeschooling is for everybody. I do think more.
You notice that she never got around to the cons of homeschooling. She never told us what those are. I'll tell you what they are. The answer is not speaking to another living human being if your parents are not insanely diligent and pay the closest attention imaginable to your social life or whatever. That's it. It's bad. It's real bad. I've watched some of this, and I can tell you that she never does address the cons. There are no cons. And when that's pointed out, she says, somebody says, well, the cons, you know what a con is, like a sacrifice or something. She says, a sacrifice isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. Refuses to give us a con. Refuses. It's insane. Anyway, I told you a thing about it in the comments. A farmer is dealing with a problem, a technical problem with his cows that he's trying to milk the cows, right? And so he presents this problem to the local college and asks some professors to help him figure it out. So the professors get a little team down there for some on-site research, and they leave, and the lead guy comes back like 2 weeks later, and he says, "We figured out your problem, but it only works for spherical cows in a vacuum, spraying milk uniformly in all directions at once." Little joke about theory versus practice.